Today is April 12th, 2023, and this is the sixth episode of the New York Yankees Kingdom podcast. Today, the gang's all here, Jackson, Chris, and Sean, and we're here to recap the Yankees series win over the Guardians in Cleveland. It was the first time we saw them since the ALDS, and as usual, when it comes to AL Central teams, the Yankees take care of business. Didn't come without a lot of controversy and a couple of bad moments, but guys, we won another series. It's four series wins, and we are tied for the second best record in the major leagues at 8-4. The thing that's going around in Tampa is making us second place in the AL East at the minute, but long way to go. So we'll go to Chris first. Takeaways from the series. It's one that I think we'll remember for a while rather than just a regular April series against the AL Central team.
Yeah, although this series didn't have Naylor or anybody rocking some babies, I thought it was a pretty good series. Uh, Losing the first game, kind of tough game, but bounce back, win the next two, and put up 11 runs in the second one. That was really nice to see us break through, get double digits, and build off of it. And honestly, I know we can talk about our pitching not being great with some of our starters, but really overall, our pitching, I think we've given up coming into today, we gave up the third least runs. He was Rays and Brewers ahead of us, but that's pretty darn good.
Jackson?
Oh, yeah. Well, there's still a lot of things I haven't been too happy about. However, the Yankees are facing adversity much better than they have in past years, at least right out of the gate. I mean, they're known to be they start decently well every year. They don't put themselves behind the eight ball too much, but they have found ways to win games. And we can go into the ways that they have done that. But again, guys are just stepping up. And that's kind of what the Yankees do. Guys like Franchi, even the guys in the bullpen, there's just always guys that step up, and that's what I think makes the Yankees a little bit better than some of their other peers at time is when they do have their main guys out, the replacements or the minor league contract guys often do make a big impact.
Yep. So, Chris, you've got game one.
Yeah, so like we said, Yanks lost the first game of the series 3-2. So we only managed to score two in the first inning off of Bieber after Stanton had a double. We had the opportunity to score more, kind of wasted that. In the bottom of the first, Domingo Armand booted an easy play, and they scored a run because of that. IKF got beat numerous times down the line. He was playing too far towards second base. And then Herman also left Brewer in a pickle. But bases loaded, no outs, don't worry. Colton Brewer got out of that one like a magician. And then Bieber retired 10 in a row. He kind of locked us down, which was really disappointing because I thought we should have got them numerous times. And he doesn't really have the stuff he used to have, obviously. But then Hamilton gave up a home run to make it 3-2 Guardians. And then Glaber gets a leadoff triple, and we get all excited, but nothing comes out of that. Some strikeouts, and yeah, that's kind of where we left a difficult game. Really had opportunities to score more than two runs, but we just didn't get them across.
Yeah, Chris, this was a game that we were talking about Sunday when we were previewing the series that we probably weren't going to win, and I don't think this was one that we lost before a ball was thrown like one of the Phillies games, but a little weird lineup here. Torres was leadoff. Calhoun was fifth in the DH, and then Kiner played third, and then Volpe was ninth. DJ did pinch hit in the ninth inning and got out, but yeah, Domingo, 87 pitches it took him to get through three innings. We need more from the starters. That's what I'm taking away from this game. Not necessarily the runs given up by the pitchers. Some of them have been all right, but we just need them to get a little bit deeper into the game because, our bullpen is taxed. Maybe not as much as other years because I feel like we've done a terrible job over the years of bullpen early on. So just more length from the starters. Brewer and Hamilton, 5 innings, just 1 run. Good job to them. They kind of reset the bullpen. But yeah, starters need to get deeper in the games for me, and then we gotta hit Bieber when we got him because he's good enough to shut us down.
Yeah, I mean, up until today, the curse of anybody but basically Schmidt and Herman starts, we were not winning. So again, small sample size, and you can't put it too much on them, but we weren't winning those games. And Herman, again, he didn't really get hit hard with the 5 walks, and again with the Guardians, they're not going to swing and miss. So it's really hard to. It's honestly my least favorite team to face because they just like I mean we saw and we'll talk about it more in Game 3. They're just like you can't even believe the bloops. And last year in the playoffs, I don't think I've ever seen anything like it over a 5 game series. It just felt like everything dropped in. So, but like you said, Sean, Brewer and Hamilton reset the bullpen, and when you play every, they probably have one off day in the span of like
17
15
days. Yeah.
days, 17 days, something like that. You need guys to go out there, and Brewer and Hamilton were definitely done for the series after that. But at least they're not your high leverage guys, and they gave you good innings, and they gave them a shot to win the game. And again, not coming through with a guy on third and no outs, it's just at this point, it's just frustrating. It's just something we have to live with. It's not this type of baseball we play. But I will say to win games, that will need to happen. So lazy fly ball, ground ball, like there just needs to be something other than a strikeout and a pop up. But overall, to lose a game to Shane Bieber with Herman pitching, in the end, it's not the end. It's not the worst thing. But when you have bases loaded, no outs in the first, and Stanton hits a 2-run double, and it's second and third, no outs, and you can't get another run across, it just it's gonna come back to bite you, and it did. And they need to capitalize more often than not, and I'll leave it at that.
I think it hurts even more failing at these opportunities against a team that doesn't do that. Like the Guardians, they don't hit a lot of home runs. I think they only had one this entire
Pete
series.
Alonso has more homers than they do.
Yeah, so they
I don't
get
know if
people
that's-
over and they get people in, and when you play them and they get a leadoff double, like they're gonna score them. I'm sure their percentage is way higher than other teams. You know, Herman 0 Ks, Cole only 3 in Game 2, and Clark today not more than a couple. But the big thing here is Herman 3 innings, 87 pitches. It took him to get the 9 outs. Brewer also got 9 outs. It only took him 28 pitches. So that was important for him. Question out of this one is we've got some bullpen guys who are slated to come back soon. Brewer or Hamilton, who's going to be the first one to go?
I would say Hamilton. I mean, I wouldn't really care either way because I don't know. Brewers looked really good at times, but both of them, I'm not impressed too much with either of their stuff. But Hamilton, I feel like is a little less. I trust him a little bit less.
I mean, both of them are going down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We have
why is
we
the
have
go any like
Canley.
when
Yeah, both of them are going down. It's just who's first, and I think it's
but
probably
again,
Hamilton.
we think that, and then guys get hurt all the time. So, or they may try to do Phantom IL stints. I mean, it's definitely Hamilton first, or at least that's what I feel.
Well, he was the last one who made
They
the roster
traded,
on
traded
opening day.
they traded for Brewer.
Yeah.
Like, there's something there. But for now, they're both going to need to give us innings. And other than Cole, and no one's really giving us deep games, so we need to rely on them a lot.
I think that's a good segue into Game 2. Jackson, it was Garrett Cole on the mound against Hunter Gaddis for Cleveland, and Gaddis was making his third or fourth MLB appearance. So we know how those usually go. Usually the Yankees are on no-hitter watch when somebody's making their debut or a rookie that we've never seen before. That wasn't the case. Cole kind of got hit a little bit in the first inning, and that's exactly what you didn't want to see after Cole had been so awesome the first 2 starts. He had given up just 1 run, and he had been out of the game, and somebody else gave up that run, but they only got 2 on him, a nice strikeout looking there in the first, and that was all the runs that the Guardians would get the rest of the game. Trevino had an RBI single in the second to cut it to 2-1. Calhoun had an RBI single in the third. Then Cabrera sac fly to take the lead 3-2, and then Franchi flicked a changeup over the right field seats to make it 6-2. It's a little frustrating in there how we were only able to get 1 base on all the singles, but we hit them for 4 in the third, 2 more in the fourth with a Rizzo RBI single and then a Glaber double play. And then in the 6th, we got 2 more Rizzo RBI single and then Judge scoring on a wild pitch. And then in the 9th, we added 11th our 11th run of the game when Willie Calhoun grounded into a double play. So big bounce back win here after a pretty bad one. Pretty bad loss on Monday. Cole gives us 7 innings, only the 3 strikeouts, but once you get a lead, we've called for it before too, Garrett, to pitch to contact a little bit more. Got 21 outs and only 97 pitches, which is pretty good. And then Abreu finished the job with 2 innings after him there. Abreu has not given up a run this year. He's looked really good. But every starter got a hit in this game. And the key here is 9 of the 11, or never mind, 6 of the 8 RBIs from the Yankees in this game came from the 5th spot or lower in the lineup. We've talked about how bad the bottom of the order has been, or at least like appears to be. They don't seem like that much of a threat. Well, that didn't really happen in this game. We had the Cabrera 3-run homer, Trevino single, Cabrera sac fly, Calhoun single. So good job on the bottom of the order here in game 2. Anything else to add from game 2, guys, other than a nice bounce back win?
I would just say really nice job of Cole and Abreu just to get the job done with just 2 pitchers, because I feel like we really needed that day to go for our bullpen and just not use a ton of arms. And in the early season, I feel like that's very important, is to have a starter go deep. And we see it with some of these teams, like even that rookie who came for the Rays and pitched today or yesterday or whatever. He did phenomenal. And the Rays are just killing people. They've used their closer like 1 time in 12 games. It's ridiculous. Like we need
Yeah,
to
their
do more of
pitching's
that.
always good, but when they're hitting, that's why they're 12
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
Anything else, Jackson?
Yeah, I just think it's amazing that Cole isn't imploding. I mean, this is back to like Astros form a little bit, and it's great to see. Again, he gives up an 0-2 hit to Quan, bad location. Then he basically rolls up a double play ball, and Glaber kind of does. It's not an error, but
Should have at least gotten 1 out.
Look like one.
you got to make the play.
Okay, at least
And
knock it down.
kind of, and then who J Ran like it kind of unfolded a little bit, but Cole was definitely frustrated with this outing. I think he wanted to see more swing and miss. Even when he came out, he was only at 97. He wanted to go another one or stuff. Like he wasn't too happy. And again, but if that's going to be your unhappy 7 innings, 2 runs away, I'll take that. And because of this outing and the hitting today, they could unleash the bullpen and they could unleash their high leverage guys as soon as Marinaccio in the 5th inning. And we'll talk about that in game 3. If you guys don't have anything else for game 2, I'll go right into game 3.
Yeah, I'll just say we've seen Cole totally unravel before, but this year he seems like more locked in and he's more, okay, that happened, I'm done with it. Hopefully that continues. But yeah, game 3.
No, yeah, game 3. So again, it was another game to decide the series. We've had this every single time, the rubber game, but didn't start off too well, and there was some controversy early. They decided to hit the ball to Aaron Hicks every single time to start the game, and they tried to bloop it in there, and Aaron Hicks was peppered with balls. He had 3. He almost turned a double play to end the 1st inning. Clearly it was dropped, but that's where there was some controversy. And I know with the new replay rules, you have to put your hand up, and then you only have 15 seconds to actually challenge it. Upon video evidence, it didn't seem like Cleveland did any of that, and the umpires kind of went rogue. I guess before we really jump into the actual game, that was kind of an interesting moment. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on that.
Yeah, well,
Chris, you
me
can go
and
first.
Sean,
Yeah, we were
me
watching
and
it.
Sean were watching it together, and we were both very confused because Sean was just walking in, and he goes, "What just happened?" And I'm like, Hicks didn't catch it, because I saw as soon as that happened, I was like, he didn't catch that. But the Yankees ran off the field after double play. They literally showed a video on the Yes Network of the Guardians and like their whole dugout, and no one challenged it. So it was really confusing how the umps just came together and were like, okay, we're going to grant them a challenge. And good for Boone to go out there and get ejected. I mean, that's what he really had to do. And I actually watched his post game conference.
He
from
was still
the thing,
hot.
and he was very fired up still. And he was like, the league didn't justify their reason for doing this, and he still was confused and still seeking answers. So
Yeah, it seems like a lot of miscommunication. Francona in his post game said that he thought that Boone had challenged Quan leaving early on the sac fly, which does not
Which why
matter
why would we
if we
challenge
got the
that?
double
Yeah.
play and the inning's over. So why would the Yankees even think of that? The out at second was made before Quan stepped on home plate, so there's no reason to think about that at all. And it's a force out too, which negates everything that happens before it on the play. But yeah, so yeah, they showed the rule up on yes, clear disregard of the rules by the umpires, and Boone got ejected. I love when Boone gets ejected, and I feel like sometimes he waits one or two calls too long. But we saw last year with Judge in that low strike, a foot below the zone that was getting called. He seemed to be on that pretty quick. And then this one he was on pretty quick. I said to Chris, I'm like, well, is he going to get ejected? It's the first inning. It's April. No, he went out there and he looked like he was headed back to the dugout a couple times, and he turned back around because I think he wanted to get ejected. They didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, they did it halfway through, and then he kept coming back. But yeah, he they asked him in the post game, "Is this a situation where you have to get ejected?" And he said no, but yeah. I mean, he kind of said no while saying yes. So good for him to
Well,
get ejected, and good for the Yankees to overcome it.
and
But
for a side note too, he talked about how calm the ump was when he was
yeah,
talking to him in the post
oh, he's
game.
like, oh, he did a
I
great
found
job. He should have
Yeah, no,
ejected
it was
me.
funny though. And then he got drilled. We were talking about
Yeah,
that too, but he got drilled in the side of the face. I was like, oh my god! Watching that live, I was just like, I didn't know if I should laugh or like I don't even know, but that was crazy.
yeah,
You
and Boone said he was on the phone with the league, and they said that they are backing the umpires, which seems like an odd move to make when you're clearly in the wrong. Most ejections of managers are when the umpires are in the wrong, and they seem to compound their mistakes. But yeah, crazy situation here. I hope the league comes out and clarifies some things because there's clearly um, a lot of miscommunications. But yeah, Jackson, go ahead.
Yeah, you could definitely tell the umpires did not want to eject Boone. They let him have so much
And
time,
he kept
and
coming
then,
back.
and then he just chilled on the field for like
Yeah,
5 minutes after. And then he's like, then he got the explanation again. I understand Hicks dropped the ball. I understand that they deserve to be in the spot that they were. However, the rules are very, very straightforward, and if you're gonna have rules, you need to follow them. So whatever. The Yankees are much better than me because I would have folded right there. My mind would have been out of the game, and then they give up a solo home run to Rosario in the third, and then I'm still watching. I'm kind of down at this point. I'm thinking we're gonna lose our first series, and then we just battled back, and it was really good. I mean, obviously the infamous play with it was first and second with Higashioka up, and he hit one off the top of the wall. And I remember when it hit the top of the wall, I was pissed off because I knew IKF wasn't gonna actually score. And then when you look at the replay, he was like barely passing second base, and Jimenez's throw was to try to get Oswaldo,
yeah,
and he did easily. And then that's when Larry Vanover got drilled in the side of the head.
yeah. It
At the time, I just saw the ball hit him and go off. I laughed out loud. I didn't realize until after that it hit him in the head. That is terrible. I feel horrible about that. If it was going to happen, I wish it was like a shoulder or
or a
something. But
chest
or
with the
either way,
protector. But
either
yeah,
way, hopefully he is fine.
I think
Again,
they did the rest of the
whatever.
game with three umpires, which is not easy.
And IKF scored on that. Now we didn't get another run across, but even then, I'll give props to Hicks. Hicks hit a ball hard. Hicks had better at bats today, so it is a step in the right direction for some of these guys. Um, but then Frenchie Bonds, or whatever we want to call him these days, he seems to be our Matt Carpenter from last year. We can even go back to Mike Ford or Mike Talkman. He's just our guy this year, and he's stepping in and playing a big role. And then in the ninth inning, I guess that's why they tell you to make contact. Stanton hit a rolled me over ground ball, and Rosario just rushed it. Again, I don't know why he rushed it. Stanton walks down the line.
Yeah, they called it
Um,
a single, by the way, and then an advance on the error.
Yeah.
wow. See
Yeah,
that
he was like he was like a full step out.
I have a big problem with the way that official scorers score things, but either way.
Yeah,
Um,
reached on the infield single to the
and then
shortstop. Safe at
and
second by throwing error by Rosario.
wow. And then Franchi kind of got outmatched. It was kind of funny. You mentioned the three umpires. They checked for the umpire at third, and I'm like, oh, Franchi went around. And then they show the guy at shortstop
Yeah,
because that's where he was, and he was like, I don't know.
and then he didn't swing another one after 2 painted balls by Clase. But
I mean, at the end of the day, French like Clase was just dotting those.
oh yeah, no,
I felt confident as Waldo's at bat. Like I feel like he's a low ball hitter. He kind of gets outmatched with velocity at the top of the zone sometimes. But I think confidence is the biggest thing. And he had confidence. And again, he pimped the single, so he didn't get the second. But either way, I think it was a great bounce back. And then we all had to pray to whatever when Clay Holmes came in and started not remembering how to throw a sinker. But again, he found the slider, and Rosario made it chase a little bit, but we got out of the one unscathed. It was kind of a messy game. It's kind of how Yankees have to beat a team like the Guardians, but to walk out of there with the series win and only losing game 1-1, I think you got to take it. I like the direction that they're moving in, and I think it's really nice when they don't give up a lot of runs pitching. And
yeah.
like I said,
This,
one more thing.
yeah, go ahead.
And you can talk off of it. They were down 1 run, and usually when you're down 1 run in the 5th inning, you're going to bring in a long guy or whatever, Brahue. They went to Ron Marinaccio to face the top of the order. When you're bringing in a high leverage guy in the 5th inning, down a run, you know your bullpen is rested. Thank you, games 1 and 2, and that you really want to win the game. So I don't know if that was Boone or Cashman or bench coach. Either way, they played to win that game from the 5th on, and it paid off.
Yeah, so I was going to say that is both teams had their A bullpens go in this one, right? The Guardians' path, which we saw in the playoffs last year, Stefan to Karinchak to Clase, really good. I mean, as a 3, as a path that you got to get through, you've got to come back against, which we did, even if it's 1 run. You got to. I didn't think we were going to score. I really didn't. But Franchi had other plans. But as a 7th, 8th, 9th path, it doesn't really get much better than that for the Guardians. But we had our A path too. Like Jackson said, Ron in the 5th, King 6th and 7th, Wandy in the 8th, Clay in the 9th. With Loizaga down, that's going to be our path right now. And it was almost as if, Abreu, Beater's the guy in the minors, Brewer and Hamilton pitched 1 and 2. They were probably all down, so you really didn't have anybody else today to throw. So it's good that they used them all. Peralta with only 11 pitches, so he might be available tomorrow, but Marinaccio 32, King 25, Clay 20, probably holding them out for tomorrow. But like Jackson said, he found the slider. He threw 20 pitches, Holmes, just 8 strikes, and just 1 strike with the sinker. And I believe it was on
not even close.
I believe it was on 3-0, and then he walked him on the next pitch. So he really throws 0 meaningful sinkers in there for a strike zone. But Flaherty called it on the call. He's like, he's got to find his sinker here, or slider here. And he got the job done. So we could all breathe a sigh of relief. Clay gets the save. Yankees get the series. Yankees are 1-0 in Boone ejection games this year. He led the major leagues last year with 9, I believe. I don't have the record of those games. I was at one of them, and we won, which was good. But, yeah, I'd like to see the record this year in Boone ejection games because I think it's going to be pretty good. And I'm glad
Let's keep track of that.
I'm glad he's not taking... He didn't, sometimes it takes him an extra bad call or two to do it. Was on it right away. Mendoza took care of business as the bench coach. And another thing about that Oswaldo single, we had a comment on our highlight on the Instagram account ridiculing Cabrera for not running to second on that one and not hustling after getting the game-winning RBI. So
there was a little bit of pimping today. No,
yeah.
Volpe. I thought
Hicks,
Volpe was
or not Hicks. Higgy definitely thought that was gone.
There was a lot of pimping, and I don't know if they've been watching too much Josh Donaldson or something, but I think we need to start. Listen, Stanton, Judge, you're allowed to pimp.
Well, you got to get it. You got to get it over the fence.
Everybody else, you better be running hard out of the box because runs are hard to come by. However, when you hit the go-ahead, whatever, single, I'll give you a pass. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, and Oswaldo did not play game 1. Shortstop in game 2. Volpe got the day off. I thought he looked awesome. And then second base to right field in game 3 because Gleyber came in for second after Stanton exited the game.
He's special, man.
No, you just see it. you just see it. He really looks the part at every position. And he played 3 minor league games in the outfield before he chucked him out there last year,
Yeah.
and played them all around the infield. He even got a couple looks at first down the stretch when we were kind of throwing lineups together. But yeah, I think it's time for awards. So, king of the series
I think that's
is
Who's
gonna be Chris first this time because Jackson wasn't here last time. He sent his picks in, and
gotcha. Yeah.
Chris and I knew what they were before we picked. So, Chris, you're up first for king of the series.
I don't know. I kind of want to do a bold one, but if I don't do the obvious one, I don't know. What should I do, bold or obvious?
Well, I'm sure both of them will get recognized by somebody, so it's up to you.
All right. Well, I was gonna go with Frenchie, but I'll go with Brewer because the Houdini act and pitching 3 shutout innings, which was very important for
In
our
28
bullpen,
pitches.
which was very important for the rest of our bullpen going forward and the strategy that we would need to use. But seriously, bases loaded, no outs. Gets the ground ball, comebacker right to him, gets the play, then gets a double play the next play. So that was just great. And then to do 2 more scoreless innings from there, that was really good.
All right, so I'm middle. I'm the middle for the awards. I'm gonna go. I did go with Franchi last time.
Double dip in the
I'm
fifth.
going to. Yeah, he's literally the man. He's gonna be getting a lot of at bats. I am going with Franchi for the second straight series. He has the most RBIs on the team, and he has had 25 ish at bats. I think he was at 21 before today. Yeah, he's the most RBIs on the team and 25 at bats. And hopefully we can get as much out of him as we can. And hopefully he's here to stay because with a lineup without many lefties, if he starts getting going, lengthens that lineup a little bit as a lefty bat, we look a lot more dangerous. So, Jackson.
I've been hesitant to do it, but I'll finally give him this props. I think it's Cole. I think every time he goes out there now, it's an expected win. And if he's going to give us 30 plus starts and we can expect to win a lot of those games, I think that will help us a lot. Now it's going to be tough to catch the Rays. I know it's early, but they're on pace to go 162 and 0.
Yeah, we don't play them as much this year, so those games are even more important.
So either way, it may not be a first round bye, whatever, but you need to go and win Cole's games. And so far, the Yankees have done it, and Cole's been the main reason for that. And Cole's my king of the series.
I think that was a big problem in 21. Is like 30 games into the year, I think we were 16 and 14 in Garrett Cole starts. And it's just not a formula I mean, we made the playoffs as a wild card team. But if you want to win the division, you've got to win 75% of your aces starts. I know a lot of the times they're against other aces, but 3-0 in Garrett Cole starts so far. He's probably the MVP of the season so far for me, but it's not an award. So we'll spin it around, Jackson. We got to do it, even though we have 4 series wins. Disappointment of the series. This might get more fun when we actually do lose a series, but we haven't yet.
Of the series. Can I give it to the umpires? No. No, I think it continues to be. I kind of want to double dip with Herman and Schmidt, but I don't want to steal anybody's. I'll just go with Herman. I know we shouldn't expect too much out of him, but it really seems like his starts this year are kind of handicapping us, and it hasn't always been that way in the past. That's why I really do feel this way. Herman used to be a guy who went out there, and I'm like, I think we can win this game. Now he goes out there, and I'm like, I'm very scared. So I think it has been a little bit of a downfall. I still don't think it's the end of the world. Not everyone, when you have 2 pitchers on the shelf, your number 4 or 5 isn't going to be elite. But for now, Herman has not given me much to love.
I mean, I'm looking at the stats here, and everybody got a hit in game 2. And the 2 people that I were checking also had 2 hit games in this series, so you can't give it to them. I'm going to go with Aaron Hicks for dropping the ball that made the umpires mess up. He could have just caught it. He could have just caught it, and we would have none of these issues. He's going to be my disappointment of the series. He did look better in this one, in this series, to be honest. I think he had 2 hits in the first game. In the second game of the series when we won 11-2, but both of them were pretty, or one of them was into the gap, and one was a ground ball that got through, but I really hope this doesn't propel to more playing time for Hicks, because the other outfielders are doing a lot better, and he made a couple mistakes in center, and he's probably the third center fielder, in my opinion, right now. IKF has looked a lot better than him out there, which is not something that you would have thought would have happened a couple years ago. And with Franchi being able to play corner outfield and Cabrera looking good everywhere, I do think Hicks's playing time's got to go down. So he's my disappointment of the series, even though this was probably pretty average for him.
One quick thing I want to throw in. To me, Hicks isn't even a center fielder. He hasn't been for a couple of years. This is the same way that IKF isn't a shortstop. If you're going to play IKF, put him at third. If you're going to play Hicks, put him in left field. I know we're all for the Judge off days or Judge DH days. It hasn't been any Judge off days. But at the end of the day, if you're going to run out a lineup, these guys need to play their actual positions.
I'd rather have Oswaldo in center, to be honest.
Anything. And I know Bader's going to come back and get a majority of the time, but Hicks is he doesn't have a quick first step anymore. He used to be a great outfielder, and he had many great moments for us. I think he hit the ball much better, but when you're throwing out a premium position guy who's not a good defender, it just everything up the middle is so important. Catcher, shortstop, second, center field. Everything to the sides matter a little less. But either way, I am totally with you. He cannot play center field anymore.
Yeah, so I'm going to piggyback off Jackson, and I'm going to go with Clark Schmidt. And it's tough. I thought we played a great series, so it is kind of hard. I don't want to keep picking the same guys, but felt like I had to here. So he did 4 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, a walk. One of them was a home run. His ERA is 8.44, which is obviously pretty bad. But I don't know. I just feel like his stuff looks really bad. And as soon as we get someone back, I think he's the first one to go, then Herman. Pretty close to each other, though, because both look terrible. But, yeah, it's unfortunate. And I think, what's our record in games started by Schmidt and Herman? 1-3.
Well, it's all of our losses. I think it's 1-4.
It's 1-4. This is the first game.
1-4. This is the first one. I wasn't sure if it was 1-3, 1-4, but yeah. So I was gonna say this is the first win, and they certainly didn't do anything to help us get the win. So
yeah, he's getting tattooed by lefties. Every time a lefty comes up, they hit the ball hard against Clark, and he's tried the cutter and the breaking stuff.
That just comes right into their bat, unfortunately. No. Again, we're gonna be picking a lot of the same guys, and the one good thing about this is a lot of the guys we're picking right now
won't be there when it matters.
Won't be playing in a month or two. We'll have Rodon, we'll have Sevy hopefully, and then Bader will be back, and Hicks will play left, or he'll get minimal plate appearances as a pinch hitter to walk or whatever. Which again, the reason that people hated on IKF last year is because he was in a premium spot all the time. IKF is fine like he is right now. Playing third base, playing a little center field, pinch running, hitting at the bottom of the order. We're fine with that. Not everyone has to be an elite player, but when he's batting 6, playing shortstop, that's when things are going a little crazy.
Yeah, and it was he made an error at third today, and it was kind of a reminder, we had to deal with that at shortstop every time last year until 20 games left in the year when they started
when we
playing
did our
some other people
shortstop carousel in the playoffs.
In the ALCS, we started Oswald Peraza in the game.
Oswald Peraza, Oswaldo Cabrera, and IKF. That's unheard of.
Yeah, so I think it was big. Some long-term things from this series. I think it was big that Cabrera did play shortstop when Volpe did.
He's our backup shortstop, yeah.
I fully expect Volpe to be out there 9/10 of the time, but it does say a lot that Cabrera was the first choice to go there when Volpe was gone. We talked about it before, who would be it, and we thought, Cabrera's probably going to get a lot of time in the outfield this year, but he was second today, short yesterday, so maybe they kind of still see him as a utility player rather than the everyday left fielder, and with Cordero playing well, I think you might see Cabrera in the infield more, especially with DJ being day-to-day, quad tightness is the thing that I'm hearing. Hopefully, it's not a big deal. And Glaber, little hip soreness or something, but he came in there to run
Yeah.
today and scored the winning run and then played defense. So he's fine. He'll be in there tomorrow. Hopefully, DJ will too, but I think it's time to preview the next series, guys. It is a four-game
Yep.
set against the team that we probably have the best record against of any team in the last 20 years. That's the Minnesota Twins. We talked about it before the show. Joey Gallo's on the 10-day IL, so we won't be seeing him in the Bronx. Probably good for him, but also good for us because he could easily hit a couple homers. And we're not going to see Sonny Gray, the only pitcher for the Twins, or the only starter, that is, that we won't see. So both of them get away with it, not playing us. But four-game set, game one tomorrow, 7 o'clock at the stadium. It'll be Joe Ryan against Johnny Brito. Friday will be at 7 o'clock as well. That'll be Tyler Mila against Nestor Cortez. Saturday will be at 1 o'clock. That'll be Kenta Maeda against Domingo Herman. And then Sunday will be Pablo Lopez against Garrett Cole. So, guys, looking at the pitching matchups or some other stuff, some other storylines. Any thoughts? Twins coming into town after the road trip. We got a long homestand, 12, 13 games, I think. But thoughts on this four-game set against the Twins?
Yeah, I love three of the four pitching matchups. I mean, Herman one is actually not that bad when you think about it because I don't think Kenta Maeda is
Yeah,
that
we
good.
could get him. We've gotten him
But
before.
Pablo Lopez, I actually think he's got some pretty good stuff against Cole, so that one should be a pretty good one. And then Nestor, I think we can definitely win that one and should win that one. And then Johnny Brito tomorrow should probably win that one too. I'm expecting 3 out of 4 here.
Yeah, we
I think
played
it's very doable.
play well at home. We're facing all four righties, and I think what the Yankees want to do now is put as many lefties in the lineup as possible. I think it's really been their thing for a while. They've never really had the personnel to do it. Franchi's going to be in there every day now, or at least close to every day,
Yeah.
especially righties, whether as the DH, left fielder, right fielder. They're going to even try to get Calhoun in at times. Obviously, it's a little more dire with that, but they're going to try to get as many lefties in as possible. And I think for right in this homestand now, 3 series homestand, like you said, 12 or 13 games, you're going to need to have a bunch of lefties in the lineup. I don't really know if we'll face a lefty pitcher unless like Detmers or Tyler Anderson. Actually, we'll face one in LA. I think we could face 3 when LA comes to town because I don't think Shohei is pitching against us.
Yeah, the starters are 2 of the 3 that are on here on ESPN are lefties: Jose Suarez and Pablo Sandoval. So
well, they also have Tyler Anderson.
Yeah.
Did you? How about
the middle game doesn't have a starter for them. That'll be Brito's game. But,
okay.
Yeah,
And Otani's pitching against the Red Sox the day before we play the Angels, so we won't go.
I think when
that's
it's all
unfortunate. Otani can't pitch at Yankee Stadium. That's unfortunate.
No, I would have loved it. It was also so funny when they had the no Otani rule, and they had to take him out in the first inning, and he couldn't hit anymore.
But then the Angels still won the game because Chapman sucked. But
side note, I was at that game.
Oh no!
He gives up 7. He gives up 7 runs. 3 rain delays. I left after the second one. No, I left after the second one.
Good.
As soon as I get home, I turn my TV on, and Chapman gives up the grand slam, and I was just like, "Good thing I left."
That was one of the Astros games where Chad Green blew it when it wasn't even a save
when
opportunity.
the Euro final was on at the same time.
Those are games just live rent free in my mind.
Yep, those are bad. Hopefully we don't have those this year. And that was the season where we played with fire like every game, and we were bound to. You're bound to get clipped one of the times. Bloop's gonna drop in there. You'll walk somebody, but I think we're feeling good about this Twin series right now. So far so good. We're 8-4, but we're actually in 3rd place in the division right now, with the Blue Jays being ahead of us for some reason that I can't figure out right now. Maybe runs scored. No.
I mean, we basically have. I mean, Atlanta's a half a game up. We have the second best record in baseball, basically, and we're 4 games behind.
So we got to keep winning, and there will be a time where the Rays start losing. Every team goes through 1 or 2 bad stretches a year.
We play them 6 times in the next month, so win those games.
Yeah, so I think we're feeling good about this Twins series. 7 o'clock, 1:05, 1:35, all at the stadium before an off day Monday. Then either Sunday night or Monday, we'll do the Twins series recap and then the Angels preview. But series win for the Yankees, four series wins. We're 8-4. We're in a good spot. A couple players aren't playing great, but others are playing pretty well. So until next time, I will see you then after the Twins series, where hopefully we take three or win all four. But until then, thanks for tuning in to today's episode of New York Yankees Kingdom, presented by the Sports Daily Media Network and picks by Chris. Be sure to check out the Instagram account. We post as many highlights as we can. We'll definitely be on these games on the weekend and tomorrow night. For Jackson,